the way up to my toes, he said. And I love you all the way up to your toes, said Big Nut Brown Hare, swinging him up over his head. That's like fun.
Yeah, now you can do that to me.
Someday, yeah. I love you as high as I can hop, laughed Little Nut Brown Hare, bouncing up and down. But I love you as high as I can hop, said Big Nut Brown Hare, and he hopped so high his ears touched the branches above. Well,
And that was hard.
that's good hopping, Little Nut Brown Hare. I wish I could hop like that. I love you all the way down the lane, as far as the river, cried Little Nut Brown Hare. I love you across the river and over the hills, said Big Nut Brown Hare. That's very far, thought Little Nut Brown Hare. He is almost too sleepy to think anymore. Then he looked beyond the thorn bushes, out into the big dark night. Nothing could be as far as the sky. I love you right up to the moon, he said, and closed his eyes. Oh, that's far, said Big Nut Brown Hare. That's very, very far, Big Nut Brown Hare settled Little Nut Brown Hare into his bed of leaves. He leaned over and kissed him good night. Then he lay close by and whispered with a smile, I love you right up to the moon and back.
Now this one.
I like this one too. And this one's Good Night Moon. You gonna help me read this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good night, moon, and the good dark moon.
In the great green room,
And the dark
there
moon.
was a
Telephone.
and a
telephone.
red
Balloon.
and a picture of,
A cow jumping over the moon.
and there were
3 little bears sitting on a chair.
and 2
Little kittens and a kitten.
mittens and a little toy house and a
Little
young
mouse.
mouse and a comb and a brush and a
Full brush.
bowl full of
Mush.
and a quiet old lady
She said,
whispering,
hush.
hush. Good night, moon.
Good night, moon.
Good night, moon. Good night.
Cow jumping over the moon.
Good night, light and red balloon. Good night, bears. Good night, chairs.
Chair.
Good night,
Mittens.
kittens
Kittens.
and
A pair of mittens.
good night, mittens. Good night, clocks and good night.
Socks.
Good night, little house.
Good night, mouse. Little mouse.
Good night, comb.
Good night,
Good night,
brush.
brush. Good night, nobody.
Good night, brush.
And good night to the
Holy
whispering.
hush.
Good night, stars. Good night, air. Good night, noises everywhere. And good night to my Mason.
Daddy.
Yeah.
Okay, this is open. If I go away,
I can leave it open.
leave the other open for me.
Can you crawl to bed?
Or maybe I can.
Yeah, you have to go to bed like a good boy, okay?
I like his PJs.
Yeah.
Oh, look at all these PJs.
They're polar bears.
With bears,
Here's your, what's that, your snuggly?
there's a piggy.
Yeah, your piggy.
There's
Actually a
another,
bear, but it's okay.
there's another piggy. That's another piggy.
Looks like a bear to me.
This, and then there's a bear too.
Yeah.
And then
And that's just Snuggly, right?
it's the Woody that's in the car. Driving to where he wants to go.
Okay. And Nikas, I love you.
Yeah, and look at this side.
Yeah.
It's more better.
Good night, buddy.
And like that,
Love you.
Daddy,
What?
and why go to bed at night right now?
Because it's time for bed.
The people do this.
Good night.
Good night, Daddy.
What?
To this, I'll wait to the door.
Yeah.
I'll wait to the door.
That's all the way. Good night.
I'll wait to the wall. I'll wait to the wall, Daddy.
It is all the way.
It's
That's enough. Good night.
Good night, Daddy. Good night, musculated for Daisy. Good night, Wash. Good night to all ladies. Good night, stars. Good night, nobody.